Rose looked disappointed at her prospective mother-in-law's criticism. She had done her best to take care of David. Perhaps she hadn't told her the exact truth, but that was no sin. She hadn't expected David to suddenly turn into an infant. She had noticed his intense interest in TV commercials with babies in diapers and thought she would thrill him by babying him a little. His wholehearted surrender of adulthood had been an utter surprise to her. Some of her girlfriends had done the same thing to their boyfriends and nothing untoward had happened. From what her friends had said, their boyfriends had enjoyed themselves immensely. Some of them had even deliberately peed in their new diapers and had demanded to be changed. It wasn't her fault that David had suddenly turned into a child. He must have always wanted to return to infancy for him to have changed so quickly. Rose shook her head to dispel the feelings of guilt that were threatening her like dark storm clouds. "Don't look so despondent, Rose," Ruth said. "You did the best you could do under the circumstances. I'm very pleased by how you've tried to take care of my son. Buying that bottle for him was especially nice of you. One of my friends in the synagogue women's group has a husband who's been very ill for a long time. The poor man is as incontinent as an infant. She buys diapers manufactured by a company in Europe who makes diapers called Molicare. I'll talk to her and see if I can't get the address of the company who distributes them in the US. Come to think of it, I think I saw an oversized nipple for a baby bottle somewhere that would fit Davy's mouth nicely." The women's group was talking about buying them for infants who have cleft lips. "I'll make some discreet inquiries and see what I can find out. I'll make some phone calls tomorrow and see what my friends can tell me. If you'll stay here and babysit Davy, I'll go out tomorrow and see what I can find for him." Davy looked a bit green as the air he swallowed while nursing threatened to make him upchuck on the blanket. Rose knelt down beside him and gently patted him on the back, producing a huge belch. "Mrs. Rosenberg smiled tolerantly at her son and said, "Why don't you watch him for me for a few minutes while I tend to things? I expect he'll need a diaper change as soon as that formula hits him. In the meantime, I'll call your mother, then go and look for some of his old baby things in the garage." A look of intelligence flashed in Davy's eyes for a moment and he said, "Rosie." Then the light died and he stuck his thumb in his mouth and began to suck. Rose patted him on his head and said, "Don't worry, Davy. It will all work out. I'm sure this is only temporary. You'll remember how to talk soon. In the meantime, there's plenty of formula and baby food for you to eat and lots of clean diapers to wear when you pee and poop in your old ones. I hope you don't take too long to remember, though. If you do, you may have to be potty trained again. It may not be worth the effort." Rose rubbed his diaper and felt his penis harden underneath the padding. At least she'd still be able to make love to him. Davy gurgled happily and pounded his heels on the floor excitedly. As far as he was concerned, everything had already worked out. Both of his mommies were there to take care of him. After a few weeks, David starting speaking in short sentences again, and they were married. He would never again aspire to become a construction engineer or architect. By the time he regained quasi-adult consciousness, his bladder and bowels were completely untrained, forcing him to be diapered full-time. He also sucked his thumb incessantly and had a tendency to slobber if he didn't concentrate on controlling his face. Although the constant sucking had quickly developed his cheek muscles until his face resembled a toddler's more than an adult's, his control of his lips and tongue never returned to his previous state of mastery. He talked with a baby lisp and drooled constantly for the rest of his life. Rose and Mrs. Rosenberg took turns every other day cutting up his food for him and feeding him like an infant. When he became constipated during the first week as a consequence of large amount of the dairy products he was consuming, they stopped feeding him cheeses and meats. Instead, they centered his diet on fruits and vegetables with a healthy serving of grains at each meal. The multiple bottles of formula he consumed each day fulfilled his daily dairy needs. The bulk fiber of the vegetables and cereals helped keep him regular. The fruits combined with the huge amount of lactose from the formula he ingested every day made his stools as soft and easy to pass as a newborn's. Pooping became such an effortless act that he was almost never aware when he filled his diaper. Davy began to enjoy the feeling of sitting in a nice soft diaper that had been warmed to body temperature with his fresh pee. His sphincter became so relaxed that he dribbled in his diaper almost continuously. For all intents and purposes, He was a baby again. He didn't sound or act like an 18-year-old teen. His behavior mimicked that of a 12-month-old. His oral tendencies grew until Rose and Ruth had to watch him every minute to keep him from mouthing everything within sight. His word selection deteriorated rapidly until the content of his speech matched his infantile enunciation.